Guys, welcome back to another TEKDEP PC build video. In today's video we're going to be building a custom gaming PC. We'll go over all the parts as we build it, but this is for a client. If you are interested in a similar build or a build for yourself, contact us at tekdep.com. We will get everything sorted for you. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we're of course going to start with our motherboard here. We went with the Gigabyte X670 Aorus Elite AX. Of course, it's an AM5 motherboard, as we went with an AM5 CPU here. And for now, the only thing we need out of the box here is just the motherboard. Alright, and there's our board. And next, we're going to go ahead and unbox our processor here. Right, and we're going to go ahead and first open up our socket here and then get our CPU out of the clamshell. To open up the socket, you're going to push down on the retention bar, pull it back, and flip the socket cover up. Alright, so you'll notice the gold triangle right here. There's one on both sides. You're going to line up the gold triangle with the triangle in the socket. If you can't see it, it's actually top left. If you can't see it when you close the socket cover, there's a triangle located on the cover as well. Place our retention ILM back in place. Close that bar and pull the socket cover off. Make sure to keep this. If you need to return or RMA the motherboard if it stops working at any point in time in the warranty period, you need this socket cover back in. They'll deny your RMA or return if that's not back in the motherboard, so hang on to that. Alright, so next we're going to go ahead and unbox our SSD. This is a 2TB Gen 4 NVMe drive from T-Force. It's their Cardera A440 Pro. There's our drive right here. We're going to go ahead and undo this top cover here for our NVMe drive. And the drive is keyed, as you can see. There's a little notch here. Line that up with the notch in the motherboard as well, and they'll slot right in. And don't forget to peel off the thermal pad. This actually cools down the SSD. If you have it in there, it actually works as an insulator, so make sure you peel that protective cover off. There we are, so that's our SSD installed. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and unbox our RAM here and install it. This is G.SKILL Flare X5. DDR5 6000, and this is going to be CL36. This is 32 gigs. Alright, and when installing these RAM sticks, we want to go ahead and use the DIMM slots that are indicated on the motherboard. So in that case, it's going to be A2 and B2. So we're going to open up the receptacles on either side. And we're going to line up the center key with the key on the motherboard and slot it into place. So we'll click twice, one on each end. Just keep even pressure, make sure you're pushing straight down, not side to side. And there we are, so that's our RAM installed. Alright, so for CPU cooler, we wanted to keep it simple with an air cooler, and this is one of the top ones on the market right now. This is the Noctua NHD15, not the Chromax, just the normal silver and brown one. So let's go ahead, get it unboxed and installed on this board here. Alright, so the first thing we need to do after we get the cooler out is actually unclip this center fan. This is going to make it so we can actually install the cooler, as the two screws that secure it down to the retention bracket are down beneath this fan. Alright, so this is our other fan that goes on the front. We're going to set that aside with the other fan for now. This is all of our hardware brackets here. Our instruction manual, Intel parts on the top with AMD parts on the bottom. We're going to take all the AMD parts out. After that, the rest of this hardware can go back in the box, and we will not be using it. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to do here is unscrew the 4 screws that hold the stock AM4 and AM5 retention mechanism on. After that, we're going to go ahead and take these plastic standoffs. And this is Noctua's AM4 offset mounting kit. So what this does is it actually lowers where the CPU mounts by a few millimeters towards the bottom, where the CCXs are. This just helps lower temperatures, get better mounting pressure, where the cores are the hottest. So this is the north one here. It's going to come up here and go down like that. And this is the south one. We're going to start with the north one. And they're labeled, so the top one is going to be your 7 millimeters downward, and your 0 or normal mounting point is labeled below. We're going to use that offset. We're going to use the 7 millimeter offset. Now we're going to do the bottom screws here. Again, make sure you use the -7 offset here. Alright, and that is our retention brackets all set. So we're going to go ahead and put thermal paste on the CPU. I'm going to put a big blob right where the 2 cores are, the 2 CCDs, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a line at the top as well just to help dissipate some heat. Don't forget to take this off before you mount it. This is a little plastic cover that just makes sure nothing gets stuck on or damages the cold plate here. And now we're going to go ahead and line it up and place it down, and take our screwdriver, secure it in place. Alright, that's our CPU cooler installed. All that's left is to install the fans. So we're going to start with the center one here. I want the cable running outwards, so I'm going to slide it in this way. And pull the retention clips backward. I'm going to flip the board around here so you guys can see. Same thing on this side, just pull the retention clip backward. And it's installed. So we are going to pull our cable through, just because it kind of went on the other side. And now we just have that front fan to install. Theoretically, you could put it on either side here. I just like to put it on the front. We're going to take our fan clips. I'm going to start with this side here. Clip it in on one and clip it in on the other. And again, we want the fan cable oriented upwards towards our sound deadening. And here's the other side going on. So you'll notice this fan is higher than the center one. That's because it's hitting the RAM. Not that that's a problem, but this is a 140 millimeter fan. So it's going to touch any RAM you put there. It doesn't hurt anything, it just has to be installed higher. It'll still cool plenty fine, especially with the addition of the center fan. One more step before we move on. You're going to want to plug in your CPU fans to your CPU fan headers. This one is a CPU optional. I'm going to plug it in there. And when I go into BIOS, I'm just going to run them at the same fan curve, same speeds, and tuck them away, and we're all set to go. Okay, so bit of a jump, but we have our case here. This is the Corsair 5000D Airflow. I got it all prepped and ready. It's a little hard to show on camera. So we're going to go ahead and install the motherboard, but before we do that, we're going to take our 2 CPU 8 pins. We're going to pre-route them. Just to make it easier, it's pretty hard to get these in there once you get the motherboard installed, so it's a good idea to do this first. One more to go. In case you're wondering which side goes to the power supply and which side goes to the motherboard, the side with the 2 connectors, the split 4 pins, that is the side that goes to the motherboard. The single pin is the side that goes to the power supply. Alright, so we got our motherboard here. We're going to line up using the rear I/O panel with the back of the case here. And there it is. So there's a center standoff right where my finger is that holds the motherboard in place. We're not going to install the screw there. That's kind of just a guide and to help seat everything into place. Alright, so now we're going to take the included screws that come with the case and grab the motherboard ones, which are going to be these center ones here. If you're ever unsure on which screws are used for what part of your computer, if you reference the manual, it will tell you which ones go where. Now we're just going to screw in our motherboard. And we have 2 more up top. I'm going to flip the case around so you guys can see them. Sorry, 3 more up top actually. And that's the motherboard fully installed in the case. Alright, so now we just have some other small wiring to do before we install the power supply and graphics card. I'm just going to start kind of top down here. This is the fan header that's going to run from the motherboard to the included controller built into this case. I'm going to run this cable under. This is the front panel Type-C cable here. This is the front panel Type-C connector here. It is keyed, it'll click in real nice when it goes in the right way. Just like that. While I'm here, I'm just going to open up the PCIe slot here for when we install the graphics card. This is going to be the front panel HD audio. It's going to go on the bottom left here. Now we have the USB 3.0 header. It's going to be right here on the board. It is keyed. There's a little finger on the top. Make sure you line it up the correct way. Alright, so now we have the USB 2.0 as well as, actually no USB 2.0. We have the front panel connectors. So this is your power button, reset switch, and power LED. You're going to have to reference your motherboard, but they're going to be in this little section of pins down here. Alright, and that is all of the cables and connectors needed for the motherboard here. Besides the 24 pin, but we're going to route that at a later time. But other than that, all of the other cables are plugged in. Alright, and for graphics card, the customer went with a NVIDIA Founders Edition RTX 4080, as you can see here. So to install this card, we're going to go ahead and take out 3 of the PCIe covers, as this is a 3-slot card. Alright, and our PCIe slot is already open. If it's not, double check it, make sure. We're going to go ahead and remove the cover for the slot on the card. Line it up. Alright, so now that the card is slotted in, we're going to take our 3 screws. Alright, and that's our graphics card installed. Alright, so now that we have the 2 cables we need, the 24 pin for the motherboard and the NVIDIA 16 pin 600 watt cable here, we're going to go ahead and plug them in. And if you guys are looking for any parts or tools, check out the links below. If you're interested in a mail-in repair or data recovery service, check us out at TEKDEP.com. We do it all every day. We're going to let that cable trend downwards and kind of train itself for a bit while we move on to the 24 pin for the motherboard. And there we are. Again, that cable is going to have to run behind the cover here, but we're going to let it kind of unwind itself and we'll route it where it needs to go in just a second. Alright, so the final step for now is going to be installing the power supply. The first thing we're going to do before installing the power supply, of course, is plugging in all of the connectors. We're going to start with the CPU ones at the top. Our SATA connector. We will be installing an additional 3 SP120 Corsair fans in just a moment. So we're going to need this to power the lighting node that's going to run to the motherboard. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and install the power supply by sliding it into place. So quick readjustment, moving that hard drive sleeve forward. Now we can go ahead and slide in the power supply. And we're going to grab the 4 included screws. You can use the ones either with the power supply or with the case. I'm just going to screw the 4 screws in the back. That's the power supply installed. So we just have some cable management to do and install our front fans, and then this build is all wrapped up. Alright, now that we have everything cable managed and the front fans installed, let's go ahead and turn the unit on, make sure everything works. And there it is. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and with the help of the community, we'll make sure to assist you. If you saw any parts or tools you need in the video, check us out at TEKDEP.com or click the link below for mail-in repairs and more PC builds. We'll see you guys in the next episode.